What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, back for another hot 5 niches of the week. And this week we're going to see what pops up, what's good, what's bad, what's ugly. And also in the coming weeks, there was a bunch of comments with people asking me, Liz, can you do time machine for September, October, November already, and December, so that we know what to produce before Christmas? And absolutely. So I'm going to do a niche week, as some of you like it to be called. I call it still niche week, but I will be doing that very soon. But let's get the party started by seeing what's hot in Amazon in general right this very moment. That way you guys can use some of these ideas to start creating. So I'm super fired up. I hope you're fired up. Let's do this. All right, so I'm on Amazon right now. I'm just going to click on bestsellers and let's see what pops up. Let's go into books and just start to explore. Like last time we looked at the general outlook of things, we're gonna just dive into children's books, see what's up, and just pick something, like just pick anything. Let's see what I like this time around. I'm gonna go into, since we're headed up into school, and last week we saw an enormous amount of school books popping up, or teacher planners and stuff like that. We're just gonna jump into education and reference or early learning. Either one will work, and we'll see what pops up. So we're gonna pop into this category and then maybe perhaps further niche it on down. Yes, I did say niche again. Yeah, I know people out there get annoyed, but oh well. Like, all right, let's just do it. So here we are, ABC, Crystal Radke. Not surprised, she's been at the top forever. I don't think she's gonna be dethroned, at least not anytime soon. But this one right next to it, I do like this one quite a bit. A Letter from Your Teacher on the First Day of School. So again, last week we talked about early learning preparation books, and I want to reiterate that to you. Might be a little too late, but when this time rolls around next year, you'll know absolutely what you got to do. Preparation books for kids and early learning, that can go for anything. It can go for kids of all different ages, but most particularly little kids who are going to school for the very first time. So keep that in mind when you make them next year. I'm still going to put it down there as a reminder to you guys that this is a very important topic that pops up every single year. So I love the way they did this. A Letter from Your Teacher. It looks very cute. It's obviously a book that they put a lot of time into, but it can also be lessons from your teacher to prepare yourself for your first day of school. And then you start to put in there whatever you want to do. Crossword puzzles, all kinds of crap that you normally put in those books that you create out there. Again, we saw this one last time. The bad seed. There's never a better time to teach kids about a bad seed than right before they go to school and right before they start acting like a bunch of little monkeys jumping on a bed. Right? So this is definitely a good thing to do. It could be teaching children mindfulness. It could be teaching children manners. A manners book would be an excellent thing to piggyback off of this bad seed. And again, always remember to brand it. Always remember to invent a cute character that you continue to put in your books from now until the end of time. So take your time in designing that. Take your time in coming up with that. And take your time in bringing that out to the world. So other than that, let's see what else we find. The Snail and the Whale, which is an unusual pair, but it rhymes. And hey, things that rhymes and things that have characters that are memorable will sell. So anything else, the first book of planets. And again, a lot of this stuff is just rehashed crap from the whole rest of the year. And people just have it down with having the characters and the branding. And I can't stress that enough. Even this Brain Quest to a certain extent is branding, even though it doesn't have any cute characters that remember. It's called Brain Quest. Who doesn't want to be able to feel like they just accomplished something by solving this quest or finishing out this quest? It makes somebody feel accomplished. Here is a fantastic thing. Everything you need to ace English language arts in one big fat notebook. All it is basically putting a book together, putting a catchy phrase on the outside. Very similar to journals and diaries, which a lot of you guys and girls already make a decent amount of money on. Never forget that sometimes these simplest covers can often yield the biggest results. So let that be a lesson. Play around with fonts, play around with words, and most importantly, play around with journals and diaries. You never know what you can get. So let's keep going. Here we have the time test that we talked about before. So not much that we're seeing that's anything new from what I noticed the last time. Here's an action Bible, which looks really cool. Almost makes a Bible look like a comic book. Whoever came up with that idea, doing a tremendous job. 3,300 reviews. $20 for this thing and 500 in books. So they're selling an enormous amount of action Bibles. That even makes me feel like I want to read the Bible because it looks like it's just so exciting and it's like a comic book. Like I love comic books. So the nerd in me loves comic books. Now right here, I don't exactly know. It looks like these polar bears are dancing. For a minute there, I thought they were on a pole. And I was like, wait a second. I thought this was the children's category. But very interesting. On the Night You Were Born. Oh boy. Mom and dad polar bear are getting busy and getting down. So there could be an invisible pole here. We never know what happened there, but I will tell you, this is very risque, I would say. That's about the best that I can come up with there, but that makes me interested in reading it. And here we have, again, everything you need to ace science in one big fat notebook. Again, they branded it by having just plain old words on a book cover, naming it something extremely long and playing around with the font. So again, a fantastic way to realize like how branding is done. And that's the first 50. We've seen the first 50, not anything really out of the ordinary or brand new that we've seen. Dream big, little one. Like so far, I've seen only one book that's worth noting other than the risque polar bears. That's very promiscuous. Those polar bears look very promiscuous. Now I understand why the baby polar bear was born on that night. It makes perfect sense. More brain quests. Like, I mean, these brain quests just crush it. And on top of just being a brain quest, they came up with summer brain quests, which means they can come up with winter brain quests. They can come up with fall brain quests. They can even come up with any kind of brain quest they want. Summer, spring, any of that, and it'll work. Like, they can even come up with Christmas brain quests, which I imagine is coming shortly. And here again, another history book, a world history book, and that just goes to show the power of branding. When people buy one book that they like, if they like it, they will buy all of them. So it's always important to remember that. If any single lesson you learn from me, it is brand your shit, people. You will reap the benefits of branding. Let's keep going. Primal Animal Teeth. I thought it was Primal Teeth. Lemonade War. Not really seeing anything that stands out. Kindergarten writing paper. It's pretty standard stuff. Not really impressed with much that's on here. It's all things that we've already talked about in the past. Like this guts one, I'm willing to think that that's possibly teaching kids how to be brave because they have to go to school for the first time. And a lot of them are probably pretty scared. Here is a primary composition notebook, which we talked about last time around, this being pretty hot. Last week, it's still hot, and that's because people and kids are going back to school, so they need something to write their essays in and or take notes. This one just happens to be a bunch of rainbows with a bunch of dots, and hey, it works. It's got somebody's name supposed to go on the outside of that, and it's pretty basic. You could come out and churn out hundreds of these if you really think about it. The patterns are out there. It's fairly easy. Let's jump into something else. Let's take a look at literary diaries and journals. Since we know that a lot of people are going to be buying composition notebooks, let's just pop into there and see what we can find that is working out there. This is for essays. Let's pop into for essays because of the fact that kids are going back to school, so obviously they will be writing essays. Let's see what pops up here. Now, this is really not turning out to be a category where there's a bunch of diaries in here. It's like diaries from famous people. So let's go back one and see if we see anything that pops out. Since it is diaries and journals, we got the rainbow one, which is number one, which is kind of incredible if you think about this. It's just rainbows, right? It's just rainbows. You can never tell when something's going to catch fire. That's why it's important that when you first start this journey, it is about a game of numbers. The 1 minute gratitude journal, that's pretty interesting. 1 line a day. This can obviously be done in several different covers, and you can come up with a catchy phrase yourself. 1 line a day. I don't know if that's trademarked or anything like that, but you could come up with something very similar and then just kind of rotate out covers, rotate out sayings, and you never know what's going to be hot. So that's very interesting. You got this Hey Girl Empowering Journal for girls. So empowering journals, that's what I'm going to put down right down here. Empowering journals for girls, even for boys, because right now kids need to be empowered. They're going back to school. All sorts of shit still going on in the world that's concerning for parents. It obviously is concerning for kids. And if we keep going down, the mindful affirmations and activities, I think this is another fantastic one. We talked about mindfulness, so I'll call this one out. Here is a plain black notebook, which again goes to the whole thing that I came up with earlier. You can never tell what's going to take off. Sometimes it's as simple as a black book with the word notebook on it with simple font. I mean, that could even pass for Times New Roman font, which is crazy. Here's a self-care workbook. The thing I like about the self-care workbook is it's very specifically makes it known that it's for Black women. So 52, see what it says in here, 52 something week guided check-in journal. So this is the kind of thing that you can make for a lot of different particular groups of people. It doesn't just have to be for Black women. It can also be for kids, for girls, for boys. It could be for any different type of people, and you can really put some time, effort into this, and more than likely it's going to speak to the people that you're creating it for. So it could be for single moms, it could be for nurses, it could be for any other niche that's hot. This is definitely that you want to do is create it and very much niche it down. So I like that. It's very good. It's one of the first ones that I've seen. Here's another similar one, Emotional Self-Care for Black Women. These could be still at the top because we just passed Juneteenth, so it's very much, it could be that. All right, let's continue to go. She believed she could, so she did. Despite the fact that it looks like at the back of the side, it looks like it's a Bible. Like for a minute there, it kind of reminded me of a serial killer book. And I was like, wait a second. And there's not that many female serial killers, but it does look like it's probably saying from the Bible. And maybe if I had read the Action Bible, I would completely understand this, but I just don't because I haven't. But either way, I just thought that the cover is very interesting because it looks like they pieced it together as a serial killer would piece this together. And for a second, I thought I was watching the movie Seven. So let's continue to go. This is very weird. Death Note. So talk about first serial killers, and now we get into Death Note, which looks like it could be a journal or workbook for serial killers. This says, with quotes of characters. I'm not exactly sure what kind of characters they're talking about, but again, it goes back to the whole point that I make that sometimes simplicity is the best way to approach this. Here is a manifestation journal, which looks very nice. Another Death Note journal. And now I'm just getting more and more curious. Like, I seriously might even just buy that because I just cannot understand what it has in there. Here's another notebook, plain notebook. Looks like that's a cloud or a puff of smoke or something. 86 reviews, $4.99, selling very well, but extremely simple, extremely plain, and seems to be doing all right. Here's a medical surgical template nursing, some kind of like nursing guidebook. So again, goes back to where I said in the last book that nursing books are fire. Medical surgical note-taking template. Here we have signs, symptoms, nursing interventions, diagnostics, etc. A lot of people are buying this, it seems that way, but there's no reviews. So I find that kind of interesting. Again, this might be one that we want to explore in another video. So I'm going to make note of that. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to explore this because these books are popping up with 0 reviews. I'm guessing they're fairly new and they're ranked pretty well in books, 31,000 and 37,000, which tells me something's going on if 2 books pop up like that. So I'm interested to find out what they are. And here are some more. So this one has 1 review. This one has 2 reviews. Same thing, 36,000 to 40,000, doing pretty well. So we'll talk about those. If you guys want to know more about those, post below and I'll start to investigate. Here we've got a composition notebook from Among Us. We talked about how most of the Among Us stuff had been taken off, but here's one. So some people will survive, but I'm telling you, eventually that's going bye-bye. Here we have a bucket list adventure, so I think we should call that out. I think we've talked about it in the past, but this is specifically a journal for couples. So this is very cute. This is very much something a girl would buy. That way them and their boyfriend fill it out. But if you don't have one of these, this would be interesting to create. 1,593. I would almost buy this one if I was interested in going into that niche or if I started to have some that sold. That way I could kind of tell what they were doing, but it's 32,000 in books, which means it's selling pretty well. Here we have the Trump Great Retiree Journal. This is also very funny, 51,000. They just basically put Trump in here. So this is what it says. You're a great retiree, really terrific, very special, just fantastic. Other retirees, losers, total disasters. Ask anyone. They all know, believe me, everyone agrees. So that's kind of funny. Very funny that Trump is still doing very well, considering the fact that he's out of there. Here is a habit tracker. So I like this a lot because I guess some people say that it takes 66 days to create a habit. Fantastic. I would put that on my list of to-do. It should be fairly simple and easy. Once you get the interior design, you can alternate a lot of covers, put a lot of different words on the outside and designs, and it would be a fantastic thing to create in general. Here's again, another medical surgical. So again, makes me even more curious. And here we have the basic notebook thing, this time with a weird leopard design. So those notebook ones are crushing it, and all they're doing is altering the covers. So very good for them. I've seen this one a couple times, but it looks like it's a book. And this is, again, a pharmacology template study guide. Same one we've been seeing, just different colors, same words on every single book. Dear Anonymous, I'm not sure what this is, but it looks very interesting. It looks like it's for recovery by adult children of alcoholics, which is pretty interesting. There's, again, the composition notebook of Among Us, another pharmacology. A hair hustler, hairstylist appointment, 77 reviews, $8.99, 94,000 in books. This is awesome. I've never seen this, but it could be also created for a massage therapist. It could be created for a makeup artist, for a manicurist, a pedicurist, any one of these. So just keep that in mind, but that's a pretty cool one. Hair hustler. I like that. I'd click on through this, see what else this person has created, and then create my own brand that almost mimics it. Remember, steal like an artist, people. Make it better. Try to figure out how you can improve what she did. Here we have a bride blank wedding book. Again, a death note, which again, the serial killers notebook. Remember, there's serial killers among us, so they too buy products like that. Shit, I can't remember. That sounds like the theme of my life lately, and I certainly would be a purchaser of this one, but that's interesting. That's a curse word book. Those always do exceptionally well. The only problem with those is, as you know, they require a different set of skills to market them. Here is a travel journal, which we talked about in the past, a gratefulness journal, a prayer journal, a love story journal. So this is a good one too. We talked about the couples doing the bucket list. Now this is a love story journal. So this is, again, girlfriends that don't have another damn thing to do buying this shit so they can make the boyfriends fill it out. This is excellent. I would certainly look at doing something like this. So I'm going to put it down here below. These sell really well. These are almost like fill-in books, which we talked about for mom, dad, sister, brother, grandma, grandpa. We talk about those all the time. So why not for lovers, right? That's perfect for lovers, and I'm sure that's going to crush it during Valentine's Day, especially then. All right, here's a really good one. I just really like flamingos, okay? It's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. Not a lot to it, but hey, it works. Again, another floral parchment journal, which is interesting, but also nurses get shit done. So again, another curse word. This one's more like a planner for nurses, but goes to show that nurse niches are hot right now, which I talked about in a previous video. Here again is more nurse stuff. And then we've got 50 writing prompts. So this one's really good. Let's talk about these writing prompts. This is specifically for grades 3 to 5. So this goes along the lines with fill-in books. However, this is writing prompts for kids. So you could do this for any age group. You could even do it for adults. It would work for adults, not just kids. So always understand that fill-in books, you can get really creative with them. They're almost like Mad Libs, and they're almost like those gifts, but this is just helping children learn to write better. So 50 writing prompts, excellent choice, 75,000. In total, this is for grades 3 to 5. So obviously a mother would buy their child this in order to help make them a better writer or to spring some sort of creativity. And let's see if we see anything else that we haven't already pointed out. Meditations, this is an old one, and it looks like that's a wrap. Well, I think that's quite a few ideas. I think that was a lot more than 5. So hopefully you guys get some sort of value out of this. Other than that, put your questions in our comments below. I always personally answer them, and I'll see you guys next time.